Yeah, hi there. This is an M Audio Axiom 61 controller keyboard. I'm going to do a quick repair and service to it today. This keyboard I actually bought off eBay as faulty. It came with a couple of issues. Actually, two main issues. One's the keyboard itself, and as you can see, this slider's at the top. But the keyboard itself is one of the main sort of common things that I've come across, and that is the C and the F sharp keys have stopped transmitting. Now it happens on all of the octaves up and down the keyboard, just the C and the F sharp. It happens, I've come across it where it happens on other notes, but it always falls in that particular sequence where you've got a number of octaves where they just won't transmit on specific notes. Now what that comes down to 9 times out of 10 is something's worked loose on the inside. I'm also going to be changing these sliders as well, because as you can see, some are broken off, some of the stems are still there. Quick zoom in. Some of the stems are there, but some have broken. Some are, I can just feel them as I run my finger across them. But yeah, we're going to change. We're going to change them, and it just so happens that when I spoke to M Audio, it's a whole board change. And when they say that, you say to yourself, "My God, how much is it going to cost?" But anyway, it turned out to be $22 plus shipping. Only took 4 days to get to me from the States. I'm in London, so that's good. Yeah, it's good service. We're also going to look at these pads, as well as the keys themselves, because it is sort of semi-weighted, and there is an aftertouch sensor on there as well as the pads. They are touch sensitive as well, so we're going to be looking at that area as well, because with all of you budding music producers and so on, and beat makers, these keyboards take quite a bit of hammering, and one of the problems associated with the faults that happens is because of the shock going through the keyboard. It does make some of the wiring and some of the cabling on the inside work its way loose, and when you're beating it really hard, as you can see, over a number of years, they do work their way loose, or if it's dropped or something like that, or if it's shuddered, then don't be surprised. So as I said, this is a common fault, and basically we're just going to open it up and just tinkle with some of the wires, make sure that they're homed in to where they should be, and that normally cures it. Now, to get to it, we've got to turn it over. There's 36 screws I think we've got to undo here, and as you can see, it's had a bit of a tough life wherever it was. It's obviously slid off a couple of places, and it's left a few marks, but these are all superficial, because some of the marks you can actually, with a good alcohol cleaning, should be able to get some of those marks out. And we've now unscrewed it, and we've now turned it back onto the top. Now we've just got to be careful how we take this cover off, because we don't want to snag any of the cables. And as you can see, it's not too bad. We just have a quick check of the keys and have a look around to see that there's nothing that's impeding the keys, or any dirt that's been lodged in between the keys, or if someone's spilt anything on the keys. You should be able to see evidence of it, any spillages and stuff. And at this point, obviously, you check now, as I said, all of the terminals going to the main board, and just make sure that they are pushed in So just have a good route around in there, and obviously if there are any components that look like they've been burnt out, then obviously try to replace them. But in general, if you do check these cables, some of them are actually glued in, I must say. So don't be surprised, but as I said, the main ribbon cables, just make sure that they are connected in correctly. Now, as you can see, there's not a lot of really in these controller keyboards, because the boards themselves are quite standard to most models. So although we've got a 61, it'll probably be the same for some of the other smaller models. But let's get a reference to see what we've got. We've got this slider section which we are going to be replacing. We've also going to look at replacing the zone parameter buttons as well, because that came as part of the set when we ordered it at M Audio. Now, in this video, obviously I'm changing this slider section, but the same can be said that if you've got to say, for example, change the display, the numbering pad, input pads, and so on. It's all basically they're all there. We've just got to remove this metal bar, which is holding it all in, as well as it does keep the keyboard in place as well. But yeah, we've got 8 screws that we need to take off this metal bar so that we can get access to the board. Now, this is the board that's came in, our new board. It's a V1 slider board. Now, this is a first generation model. There is a second generation version, but again, always when you're ordering parts, don't just go by the make and model. Open it up beforehand and actually get reference to the board number, so that you can order the correct one. Because with a lot of these parts, if you order them and it's incorrect, sometimes they don't like taking them back, particularly if you've broken the seal on most electronic parts. But as you can see, sliders, yep, they're all perfect, they're all there, and it actually looks like I could solder them in and out, so rather than buying the complete board. But as I said, the whole board only came in at $22, so together with the ribbon. So but yeah, I would say that's not bad. So let's swap it out and see how we get on. Right, I've now taken this metal strip off that allows us access to the board, and as you can see, I mean, it's basic. So we're just going to undo 6 screws to this board to take it away from the main housing, and just going to adjust it slightly so that we can again just make reference to which board we're actually going to take out, just to make sure what you're doing is the correct one. As I said before, if you're going to replace the display, you're going to carry out this same procedure. As you can see, those boards are all located more or less in the same area, and with that there's 4 screws. With the keypad there's 4 screws as well, and with the transporter and the encoding knobs above the transporter, it'll be the same situation with those as well to replace those. So if you're watching the video, you're going to get 4 5-in-1 that it's actually got a plate in which it sits on. Anyway, we've unscrewed the old board off, slider board off, and although this rubber strip switch unit's okay, actually came with a new one, so we'll put a new one in. We'll just unclip the old one off from the main board, and as you can see, I might be able to reuse 4 of those sliders in the future if these other ones break off, so in the same way. So yeah, here's our new board. We'll just offer up everything to start off with to where things are going to go, just to make sure that they fit and go where they should be. It's always good to sort of offer things up first before you decide, right, you're going to put it in and it doesn't quite work out with a lot of items that you're buying, which aren't say original, but these are obviously the original parts, so it's not an issue. But again, always offer it up to see the space that you're working with, and obviously at the same time be gentle with the boards, because you obviously don't want to break the board. And we just put the other end of that ribbon back into the main board, make sure that's in there, and we screw the plate back in and basically screw the cover back on. As you can see here now, I've given it a good clean with some alcohol plastic cleaner. Okay, I've put it all back together now, and I'm back in the studio. So I've plugged the USB line in to the computer so that we can get some sounds out of it. One of the problems that we had was the C and the F. They're now all sorted. And as you can see, that they're all there. They're also assigned to the pads, which is great as well. And the faders work as well. How about that? So, good job. There you go.